The thing about Portland, and I understand, like, I don't need to read texts or comments about, like, oh, no, you don't get it, man, ping pong ball. What a nice position to be in if you're Chauncey Billups, where somebody asks you in the postgame, and that somebody was Danny, of like, yo, what are you going to take away from tape? And he's like, I'm just not going to watch the tape.
Burn him.
And that's the beauty. Like, people have argued about Chauncey for 3 years now. Is he good? Is he not good? How good is he? Is he mediocre? Like, whatever. It must be a nice position to be in professionally when you can get your ass kicked and be embarrassing, and people celebrate the fact that you got another ping pong ball. And then if you win a game that you shouldn't, or your team plays better, right, people get to jump on and say, hey, Chauncey's great. But when you suck, it's like, hey, we got a ping pong ball. There's no negative in that situation for Chauncey Billups.
Well, I mean, shoot, this is going to be controversial. I'm going to phrase it more as a question, but I kind of would lead towards Chauncey in this way. Like, who would you rather be? Would you rather be Chauncey Billups, where you're not supposed to be very good, your team is struggling, you just lost probably your worst loss of the year. You
lost by 62 at OKC. That one was pretty outright pathetic.
Right. So you have a bunch of, now there's a list. You have a bunch of really bad losses.
He's got a few of those.
Or would you rather be Doc Rivers?
I'd rather be Doc Rivers. Give me Giannis and Dame all day.
I don't know, because right now, if you don't go out and win a title, it's a failure as Doc Rivers. Already people are attacking you because you went behind the scenes and you played the political game to get your spot, or at least at the very, very, very
least. It seemed
least,
backstabby.
You were open to stabbing your friend in the back to get the spot that you've been in.
Yeah.
You haven't looked exceptional. You were supposed to come in and completely change everything, and they were going to figure it out, right? Like, as good as they have been this year, when you watch a Bucks game, they struggle. It seems like they have issues. Who should have the ball in what situation? How many shots should go up for each individual player? How should they be playing defense? And you're supposed to come in and fix that with less than half the year to go and win a title. And if you don't do it, you're a failure.
I hear what you're saying, and like Doc is Doc, but Doc gets fired or doesn't win a title, he's going to get a cush media job next year and be fine.
True.
Chauncey probably gets back into the media if this doesn't go well. But what Chauncey's trying to get out of is one of the hardest thing in pro sports.
Yeah, to have a successful rebuild and to do it in a timely fashion where you don't get fired.
When you're in the basement of the NBA, it's hard to get out of there. Right. And, when you go 4, 5, 6 years without being good and winning and being out of the playoffs, you're at the same level as those other franchises that people like to say, don't be them. Well, 5, 6 years of not winning, you are them. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but the national narrative is you are them. You don't matter. Mm-hmm. I would much rather coach a team with a title opportunity every day of the week and then be blamed for it if we don't, than be the coach and say, I hope we can even get to a play-in at some point. That's the tough thing. The other part of this, there's nothing you can do to make guys make shots, right? 3 of 32 is just ice-cold shooting. Right. I did find myself, however, last night, understanding that ping pong balls are important here. Mm-hmm. They are a half game behind Charlotte for this. That Charlotte is playing well. I think they're 5-1 in their last 6.
Right.
Charlotte is probably going to keep winning some games. They're not trying to lose. Miller's playing. He's good. Miles Bridges, despite everybody hating him, he's been good. They are probably going to get ahead of you, and you're going to be ahead of them for the draft lottery standings. That being said, the one thing we point at is you don't want to be, and I give Danny this, you don't want to be the process Sixers. You don't want to be the Pistons. Okay, I totally agree with that. I don't want to lose to those teams. I know we're in rebuild. I know we're acquiring ping pong balls, and I know everybody in Portland is just now cheering on the fact that we got another ping pong ball. We missed Wembanyama by one damn ball. Mm-hmm. Could have been us. Could have been him with Dame here in Portland this year. This amazing rookie season he's having. But I don't want to lose to Charlotte, DC, or the Pistons. There are 3 teams that, in my mind, I don't want to watch them lose to because I don't want to be worse than them.
Right.
I know we're competing again for draft stock and draft lottery status, but those are teams that everybody in America tells you laughable, joke, pathetic.
Right.
And I don't want to be the team losing. Those are the couple games a year that I actually give a damn. I'm like, just don't lose to them. Please don't lose to them.
Just win.
And again, you're going to get people that it's all about ping pong balls. Sprague, you're an idiot. It's all about collecting that ping pong ball. Okay, cool story, bro. But we don't want to be those teams, but we're losing to those teams. And so I don't want to lose to the Pistons, the Wizards, or Charlotte. And I understand Charlotte's playing good, but when you put out a team with DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant, and Anthony Simons, who are all playing like 32, 33 plus minutes.
32 plus, yeah.
Matisse Thybulle's getting up 30 minutes plus off the bench. When you're playing, those, by the way, as young as they might be, those are all veteran players. Those are all guys that have played enough high-level games or been in the league long enough for me to say, I look at them as vets. And you get embarrassed like that,
yeah.
It does. I kind of get irked by it. I'm just like, this is pathetic. Getting housed by the Hornets, because I don't care what the final was. I don't care what the score was at any one point. They were down by like 7 or 8, and then the Hornets just hit them on like an 18-0 run.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What are we doing?
Or a couple weeks ago, they went on the 15-0 run just to be down by 17 or whatever it was.
That's a game that they lost. They get a ping pong ball. It's not a game you look back and say, well, yeah, they lost to the Hornets because we were tanking. No, they played all of their veteran guys 30-plus minutes.
Just remember, as easy as it is to become Charlotte, to become Detroit, to become one of these cellar-dwelling teams, if you have the right people in the front office and you trust them, which right now I haven't seen a reason not to trust Joe Cronin. And I know it's hard to say that at times with the ownership issues and where people want to go with that. But if you trust Joe Cronin and you trust the scouts to go out and make the right draft picks and sign the right free agents, you can just as easily be Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City went out and got a bunch of draft capital, and they hit on all the guys that they drafted, not all, but most, and look at what they've turned into. They are a team that this year has a legitimate shot at winning an NBA title. Will they win it? Probably not, because they're young, and in the NBA, you have to go through those wars. You have to go through those tough losses to finally win. At least that's what it seems like when you go back and look at all these championship teams. But if you can do the right things and make the right picks, you can be OKC. It's going to take time, but you can do it.
You can be OKC, and you can also be every other team that isn't OKC that's tried to be OKC.
Right.
Getting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander changed everything for them. It's not just the draft picks. Chet's been awesome. Jalen Williams has been awesome.
Right.
They're having to now give off some of these players that they drafted who aren't, the worst players in the world, but like they don't have room for them.
And they still have more picks.
SGA is amazing.
Right.
You don't have an SGA.
Not yet, but you could.
Okay. They need to go get it, though.
You got a Dame.
The Thunder didn't get it from a draft. They got it in a trade.
Right.
And so that's the tough thing is we like to cite OKC, and we could just as easily cite 7 other franchises that don't ever get to the – Orlando's just now getting it. Orlando has sucked since Dwight left. They had like one random year where they made the playoffs and they won the first game against Toronto. After that, they have done nothing.
Right.
And they finally have got some pieces. They got the Wagner. They got the Paolo. They've got Suggs is good defensively for them. It doesn't always go OKC way. You have to find those. And that, my friend, is the hardest part about building and rebuilding in the NBA is some of that stuff is crapshoot stuff at best, or you got lucky with a team who was more desperate, and so they give up the young prospect who ends up becoming first-team All-NBA.